We've got Mark Schlereth. Mark, how's the podcast going before we get to the big breaking news of the last hour here?
Well, the podcast is going great, and you guys are going to break news to me. Like, I broke down all the AFC and NFC championship nuggets and all the good things that I saw. I went back and studied both games the last 2 days, went through the coaches tape on both of them. So I have not seen anything as of today. So go ahead, break the news. I want to hear about it.
Oh, this will be good. All right, here we go. 6-time Super Bowl winning head coach Bill Belichick, who's got 8 Super Bowls in total if he had his 2 with the Giants when he was their defense coordinator. Bill Belichick is not going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He fell short of the 40 of the 50 votes needed to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer into Canton, Ohio. He did not get those 40 votes. And so, obviously, Spygate, Deflategate probably has played a factor into that. There's been some reporting. Schefter and some of the other main NFL insiders have put out some details, some inside sources on some conversations that were had. But the dust settles, Mark. Bill Belichick is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Your raw reaction to hearing that?
Doesn't surprise me. And exactly what you said. You know, I mean, the whole Spygate stuff, Deflategate stuff, which I thought the Deflategate stuff was ridiculous. Spygate stuff had merit to it. But the bottom line is he's a Hall of Famer. I guess there's part of me that I look at until Mike Shanahan gets in as a Hall of Famer, then nobody deserves to be in as a Hall of Famer. And the fact that guy isn't in, took the Bill Walsh West Coast passing game, coupled it with the zone running game, and it is the offense right now that is the main, I guess, trunk of that West Coast offense tree that is run by about 60% of the teams right now, from Kyle Shanahan to LaFleur in Green Bay to Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota to Clint Kubiak in Seattle going to the Super Bowl to, Sean McVay. Like, you name it, it's all that offense. It's all that tree. And Mike Shanahan created it, and all these teams are running it. And ultimately, it blows me away. The guy's been a 2-time world champion, and he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. So I get, the Bill Belichick first ballot, and he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and all that stuff. I get it, but I just – the Hall of Fame voting drives me crazy because there's a bunch of people that are voting on it that have agendas and oftentimes have no idea what they've really studied or witnessed. So it drives me crazy. It is what it is.
Okay, that's a fair answer. That is a fair answer. All right, let's get back to Sunday here, Mark. You were in Peyton Manning's suite. You had a firsthand view of what started out great for the Broncos, quickly turned into heartbreak in the Mile High City. It all seemed to turn when Sean Payton went for it on 4th and 1 inside the red zone, passing up a chip shot field goal when the weather wasn't yet a big factor, and that gave him a chance to go up 10-0. I saw a clip of you on social media yesterday criticizing that decision to go for it. So if you want to expand on that, please do. But more importantly, do you think the pendulum swings back into maybe some more conservative coaching decisions, or do you think there's no turning back from the analytics, which has given coaches an excuse to be over-aggressive at times?
Yeah, I don't know. I think eventually it swings back. I mean, points are premium. I'm standing, you mentioned it. I'm in Peyton Manning's box. It's me, it's Peyton, it's Terrell Davis, it's Brandon Stokely, and it's Mike Shanahan. And we're all watching it going, oh, kick it. Just kick it. Like, you haven't run it for 2 inches. You guys were awful. The Broncos were. Their inability to block the front of the New England Patriots, to me, was embarrassing. I was sickened by it. I went back through the coach's tape, and it was just really poorly executed. And everybody will point to Stidham and say, hey, Stidham wasn't very good. Sean Payton came out and said, hey, the guy that I'm least worried about is Stidham. Like, the rest of that team did not execute, did not play very well. You hadn't run it for 2 inches. And at that point in the ball game, the New England Patriots had run 12 plays for 12 yards. You go up 10-0. I mean, you're essentially salting the game away the way it was going at that particular point in time. And I mean, they shift again. They shift at the snap, just right before the snap. The Broncos don't block anybody on that play, and it's an abject disaster. And by the way, even if you convert on 4th down and 1 in that situation, now you're on the 13-yard line. What are the odds you're a horrible red zone team? What are the odds you're going to score anyway? Like, I looked at the whole thing and was like, come on. Like, points are a premium. It's the AFC Championship game. You need them. It's been a part of the league that has driven me crazy. Not only do you not take the points, but then you give the momentum back to New England. They get new life, and they hadn't done anything up to that point. I just thought it was a horrible decision, and I mean, it's the way it turned out. I think if they kick that field goal, I believe they win that game.
Yeah, Mark, I totally agree with you. On a related note, we had a meteorological deep dive yesterday, and we were discussing a lot of people really demanding for a lot of these meaningful games to be played in dome stadiums. Again, you were in attendance for the Broncos' impromptu snowstorm on Sunday. You saw firsthand, as a result, how the game swayed in the conditions. Hell, you played in a number of games with inclement conditions. What's your view on the fair weather demand and these dome stadium games that a lot of people feel must be played?
Well, my view is if you had any balls at all, you'd love to play in that weather and you'd run the ball down the throat of your opponent. But because nobody knows how to run the ball in the National Football League, because all we do is promote offensive passing coordinators to become coordinators, nobody understands the value of it. They don't appreciate it. If I hear another ex-offensive coordinator or quarterback talk about the bubble screen is an extension of the run game, I'm going to vomit. It has nothing to do with the run game. It's garbage. It's baloney. It is a lie that's perpetuated by people that want to throw the football. So here's what I would do. Like, if I'm playing in that game, if my 98 team is playing in the game, we'd have rushed for 300 yards. We'd have put it on their asses because we knew how to run. Like that, it just is, it's pathetic, and it's an excuse to throw the ball more. And you know what? That's not football. At its core, show me the team that dominates or wins both lines of scrimmage, and I'll show you the team that wins about 85% of the games. And so you could sit there and say, well, it's not pretty for me. Well, I don't really care if it's not. The game's not supposed to be pretty. The game is supposed to be physical. There's a reason. You know what? And I say this all the time, and now I'm on a soapbox, but there's a reason there's only 1,500 people in the world that can play the game, right? Because one, you got to be half stupid and half crazy to play it, because you're going to get hurt, you're going to get injured. The other thing, when I hear people say, well, I would have played for free. No, you wouldn't. Not if you're good enough to get paid. You're not playing for free. And the reason that most people can't play it, and they'll all say, well, I wasn't blessed athletically enough. Yeah, that's true. You weren't. But the other thing was, you don't have balls enough to play, because you got to be twisted to play it. And so, like, I don't want to take that out of football. I don't want to take contact, physicality, and nastiness out of the game. And obviously a bunch of ex-quarterbacks and a bunch of offense coordinators that never played want to, but I don't agree with that.
Oh, Mark, preach, man, preach! Definitely got to play in the great outdoors. Some of these, storied venues that are out there, especially the one, again, you saw the action out there in a power field. Mark, with the Super Bowl matchup set between Patriots and Seahawks, couple of things. One, did you correctly call the two teams meeting in Santa Clara before the playoffs began? And two, what was your initial reaction seeing Seattle as minus 3.5-point favorites, and that immediately jumped to -5, where it is now at BetMGM, and that happened in a matter of minutes? Do you feel that New England is getting disrespected, or is Seattle getting proper respected based on the line change?
Yeah, I would just say that Seattle is getting the proper amount of respect. They're really freaking good. And I'm telling you, all the questions about Sam Darnold, and you know what? They were legitimate. You can ask the question. If you would have told me that at the beginning of the day, Matthew Stafford's going to get outdueled by Sam Darnold, that would not have been on my bingo card. I guarantee you that. but Sam Darnold was exceptional in that game. I mean, exceptional. Climbing the pocket, avoiding the pressure, throwing absolute dime pieces down the football field to Smith and Jigba and everybody. I mean, it was incredible what he was able to accomplish. And, ultimately it was a great battle of two quarterbacks that executed at an exceptional level. And, it's funny to me watch Seattle. Seattle just said, hey, listen, man, we're going to play a bunch of, cover one lurk. We're going to come down and play man-to-man across the board. And we believe that, one, we're going to rush with four, and we're going to play man-to-man coverage, and we hope we can get there. But one thing we know is we're not afraid of Matthew Stafford scrambling. So that's why we're going to play man. And I'm telling you what, there was a bunch of plays where they had really, outstanding coverage. But you know what? The Rams had Devontae Adams and they had Puka Nacua. And you give Puka Nacua a half an inch, he's making a catch. And Devontae Adams, I know he's been in the league for a long time, but he was breaking freaking ankles at the top of his routes, giving Matthew Stafford an opportunity to throw. So the Seattle just hey, listen, man, you walk away from that and say, we had really good man-to-man coverage. There is no defense for the perfect throw. They got us. And yet our quarterback stepped up and won us a football game. It was an incredible football game. Going back through the coach's tape, man, two things. I was so impressed with Sam Darnold's pocket presence and his ability to get the ball out on time accurately. And then Smith and Jigba. And this is what you need to know about the combine, okay? I'm going to continue to preach. Doing 225 on the bench for reps and doing a lot of reps does not make you a good football player. It makes you good at benching. Understand that. That's all it does. Running a fast 40 does not make you a great football player. It makes you a good track guy. Smith and Jigba ran a 4.52 or 4.53 at the combine, which is not in today's game blazing speed. It's pretty average speed. Dude you're not able to cover him. That dude is in and out of breaks. He is phenomenal. They threw a little smoke screen, so they didn't even bring anybody. It's just you. Coverage is off. The corner is off. Throw the smoke. He makes the cornerback. I mean, he breaks his ankles. Guy doesn't even touch him, and he almost breaks the safety's ankles, and he gets 12 yards on a smoke screen. And nobody's blocking for him. It's not a bubble screen where they're pulling out. He's just on a single side into the boundary. They throw it out to him, and the guy's getting 12, 13 yards, shaking people down. I mean, it's phenomenal. And, at 4.5, you're not outrunning. Rick Woolen on the other side ran a 4.3 or 4.2 something at the combine. Again, it has to do with how good at football you are, not how good an athlete you are. I always say this, and I mean it. Football is easy for football players, really hard for athletes.
This is some great stuff here, Mark. We are joined by Odyssey NFL insider Mark Schlereth here, BetMGM tonight, Westwood One Sports. He's Brad Evans. I'm Pat Boyle. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide for your insurance and financial needs. Nationwide is on your side. Mark, let's move ahead now to Santa Clara. Drake May has struggled collectively thus far in his first trip to the postseason. He's completed just 56% of his passes for an average of $178 yards per game and 5 turnovers. Didn't turn the ball over on Sunday, though, but it's pretty obvious that he needs to step up in the Super Bowl for the Patriots to have a chance. Do you think he's capable of doing that against the Seattle defense, or are the Patriots going to have to rely on their defense yet again?
I think they're going to have to rely on their defense, and their defense is playing great. And, 2 seasons ago, all the national publications came out and had the Broncos rated as the 31st best roster in football, the 30th best roster in football. And I was angry about it. And, I went on a bunch of national shows and said, just because the national writers don't know anybody's name does not mean that their roster is bad. Okay. Just understand that. And I think the same thing about the Patriots. Just because people don't really know the names of the Patriots players on defense doesn't mean they can't play. They got some football playing Jessies. Milton Williams is freaking phenomenal. That dude is unbelievable. Christian Barmore is a great player. Robert Spillane is unbelievable. So is Christian Ellis. Gonzalez out there at one corner is a phenomenal player, man. They've got some players. And the thing that they don't have is they don't have a legitimate war daddy off the edge. Landry's he's a great player, but he's not one of those guys you're like, we can never go one-on-one with this guy. So anytime, and this is how, from a game planning standpoint, the way we always game planned is, if you got a guy that is like an absolute war daddy, then you gotta count for him every time you break the huddle, right? You say, we can't leave him one-on-one. If you've got nobody that really threatens you that way, that means you can go 5 one-on-ones across the board. That means I can get 5 guys out in the pattern at all times. That means we're going to have somebody open at all times. And so I think that's the thing that gives the Seattle Seahawks a little bit of an advantage, although Williams is a really good pass rusher. But that's kind of they don't have that one dude that's just like, we're scared to death to go one-on-one with that guy. And so they just don't have that guy, which gives the offense, ultimately, to me, it gives you the advantage.
Mark, last question for me here real quick. Quarterbacks typically take home the Super Bowl MVP hardware, but other positions have occasionally received the honor. Who do you believe hoist the hardware in Super Bowl 60 this season? Is it JSN? Maybe somebody else? Who rises to the occasion and has the best game imaginable here in a couple of weeks?
Man, it's a great question. Listen, man, I love Kenneth Walker. I love what he has done in the run game. Yeah. He has got power. He's powerful. He'll run you over. He's got a wiggle that you don't expect from that power. And then he's got explosiveness off the edge. And I think the Seattle Seahawks, with Rico Dennison, who's their offensive line coach, their run game coordinator, I think they do the best job in football of tying in with Clint Kubiak, that passing game, that play action game with that run game. Listen, I'll take anybody other than a quarterback. I'm so sick of quarterback. We spend so much time just basically shining quarterbacks. And I'm like, I always say, like, okay, we're going to run a play pass and we're going to run an over with a post. And hey, if the safety drops on the over, throw the post. If he hangs deep on the post, throw the over. Ooh, it's so difficult. How do these guys understand it? Oh my gosh, stop it. It's not that hard. It's not that, but we make it out like we just act like it because we like to talk in, football superlatives. And so nobody really understands it. And then we feel really good about ourselves. We're a bunch of PE majors. Stop it. We're not that smart. Genius and football, mutually exclusive events. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, not that smart, not that good.
No.
Last one here from me. We're with Mark Schlereth, our Odyssey NFL Insider here for another minute or so on BetMGM tonight. Mark, the Buffalo Bills promoted OC Joe Brady today to be their head coach. I don't like the decision. I think owner Terry Pagula and President Brandon Beane talked last week about needing to make changes in order to get over the hump and get to a Super Bowl, and then they barely make any changes other than just removing Sean McDermott. Do you think this changes anything in Buffalo? Like, are you more or less inspired? Or are you just indifferent to their chances of getting to a Super Bowl next year now?
Well, I think the biggest difference, I think that you look at Joe Brady and what he's done. I think he's done an unbelievable job as a coordinator, and I think it's always important to have some continuity with your, superstar quarterback. My big question is, in critical moments, like, I like to say, hey, when it's nut cutting time, it's time to cut nuts. Like, when it's time to cut nuts, are you going to make decisions as a head coach, or are you going to just put it back in your quarterback's lap and go, hey, Josh, go win us a game? Because I just think some of the decisions have been that the coaches don't want to put it in their own hands. They want to put it in the quarterback's hands and go, hey, let's just let our athlete go do things. And that's what drove me crazy about the Buffalo Bills. And I can go through, the 13 seconds left against Kansas City and all that stuff. But you go back to just the game against the Denver Broncos. 16 seconds left in the second quarter after you just gave up a touchdown. You get the ball back, and then you have Josh Allen. Like, what did you think was going to happen? He's going to throw a 75-yard touchdown? Or did you think he was going to, with 16 seconds left, do you think they were going to drive when everybody's playing, a 3-deep chains defense? where they're forcing you to throw it underneath. Did you think you were going to make 3 completions in 16 seconds and kick a 56-yard field goal? Like, what was your decision there? Like, it made no – take a knee, get in the locker room, and you're down by 10. Let's go figure out a way to win this thing. But that, to me, was just another one of the just stupid things that coaching staff did, and that to me is why he's no longer there.
Well, this was awesome stuff today, Mark. You brought it, man. We thoroughly enjoyed all your answers. You could preach anytime you want. We love when you kind of break down the film for us, audibly. So we appreciate the time as always, man. Can't wait to catch up with you next week.
My pleasure. Take care, guys.
There you go. That was Odyssey NFL insider Mark Schlereth, host of the Stinkin' Truth podcast. Insider calls are brought to you by Nationwide. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side. Mark is the host of the Odyssey original, the Stinkin' Truth podcast. Remember to listen to the Stinkin' Truth podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.